Alhamdulillah, if my voice can be heard. Welcome to IPAC, Professor Lokhman.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, oh, I haven't opened my. Oh my God, why my picture like a.
Selamat pagi, Bu Mega. Good
Who will be
morning.
the master of ceremony? Hapsari.
Yes, Miss.
Okay, can you please speak louder?
I'm trying. Is it audible now?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yes, Miss. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. This is general lecture as our speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Lokhman Hakim Osman. If everyone are ready to start, I will open this session. Before start, I will try to remind you to open your camera and mute your audio. Para peserta diharapkan untuk mengaktifkan fitur kamera dan menggunakan nama lengkap masing-masing. The Honorable Professor Dr. Lokhman Hakim Osman as a speaker for today's event. Ms. Meka Kurnia Puji, RDA, SE, MSI, PhD as a moderator for today's event. And the Honorable accounting lecturers and participants who attended today's general lecture. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain amma ba'du. Praise your glorious presence of God Almighty who gave his guidance and mercy of Allah to all of us so that we can attend the general lecture event with the topic of management in the age of VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. As a speaker, Professor Dr. Lokhman Hakim Osman, organized by International Program of Accounting on this morning with healthy state. Blessings and greetings let us always devote to our Lord, the Prophet Muhammad, who had brought us from the time of Jahiliyah heading into the era that is full of inayah. Let me introduce myself. My name is Tri Hapsari Rahmadani as the Master of Ceremony. Here, I would like to show you about the agendas we have arranged today. The first agenda is opening. The second agenda is general lecture session. The next agenda is Q&A session. The next agenda is photo session. And the last agenda is closing. Let us start the first agenda, that is opening, by reciting Basmalah altogether. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The next agenda is general lecture session with the topic management in the age of VUCA, or volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. This event will be guided by our moderator, Ms. Meka Kurnia Puji, RDA, SE, MSI, PhD. She is the Vice Dean of Faculty of Economics and Business and expert in Introduction to Management subject, as what we will discuss today. For Miss Meika, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you, Hapsari. Is my voice can be heard clearly, ya?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone, especially
Waalaikumsalam.
Bapak Lokhman, Hakim Osman. First of all, thank you very much for your what is like you are able to come to fulfill our invitation as a guest lecturer in the International Program of Accounting. So this is a very lucky for us that we can get knowledge from you, and we can do like a knowledge sharing as well, yeah, especially in the topic of VUCA or VUCA, VUCA, what is terminologies that we have been hearing a couple years ago, and now become more interesting to be discussed, because now we are living in more volatile era as well, since the pandemic coming to us, yeah, and that would be very important for accounting students to understand these issues, because now accounting or accountant is one of a group that impacted by VUCA. We can see that there are many issues in terms of accounting or accountant, especially that, for example, replaced by the technology, information and communication technology, and now what we should do, especially also in the situation where organization now living in very what is like a discontinue era, yeah. When in the past we learn about how to predict the situation, but now it is very challenging for us, everyone, from the small, medium until the big company, to live in this current situation. And Alhamdulillah, students, now, today we will learn more from Dr. Lokhman about VUCA, and inshallah this will be very not only interesting, but inshallah will be very insightful for everyone to learn about VUCA from the perspective of Malaysia mungkin, or other ini ya, other word ya, or area. Okay, so I will not spend much time for introducing Dr. Lokhman, yeah, but we have shared Dr. Lokhman's profile for you, and we have a very limited time today. So students, please let's pay attention, yeah, to what Dr. Lokhman will deliver to us, because that's not, again, not only will be what is knowledge, yeah. Rabbi Sidni Alma Warzukni Fahma. We do not want only to increase our knowledge, but we ask Allah to make us understand, yeah, and also inshallah will be very beneficial for us, for not only listening, but later I hope that everyone can make this agenda more live with the conversation, question and answer. Okay, so please, Dr. Lokhman, times is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mika. Thank you, Masters of Ceremonies, Hapsari Rahmadani. Okay. Sorry, I have to hold my mic here because otherwise you cannot hear me clearly. Okay. First of all, thank you for this opportunity. I would like to apologize first. I know that we have been trying to arrange these lectures for 2 years now. From 2021 and now it's 2022. So I say it's 2 years now. So, but there is some VUCA. There
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah,
VUCA
that's right.
that creates some uncertainties in terms of the timing, the dates, and everything. So yeah, I'm glad I finally able to be here, be with the students from the universities, UMY, and everyone else. So yeah, I'm glad and I'm honored. Thank you for this opportunity. Right. So as I have been introduced, my name is Lokhman Osman. I'm an associate professor here at UKM. UKM, University Kebangsaan Malaysia. History with Indonesia, it's very long. I think just to start with, in fact, when we were first established, okay, we a lot of our core core lecturers come from Indonesia. Okay, so we have that very strong bond between Indonesia and UKM. So that's why I think whenever there is a calling from Indonesia and Malaysia, vice versa, we as much as possible try to answer that call. And I am here answering the call.
Thank
Okay,
you very much.
and I hope to be able to deliver something that is meaningful, okay, for everyone here today. Okay, so now I'm going to start sharing my slides. Okay, okay, I hope everybody can see my slides. Yeah.
Yes, very clear.
Okay, alhamdulillah, okay. All right, so the title of my lectures today is Management in the Age of VUCA. Okay, and I will be sharing some of the work that I've done, okay, into looking at how management today and in the future have been affected, okay, by this VUCA. And I hope by the end of my lectures, my sharing today, um, I also be able to share with everyone um, how we can actually attempt these challenges that are being called VUCA. Okay, now I'm gonna start my lecture with this quote by Charles Darwin. We always have in our mind that Darwin put this statement that survival of the fittest. Yeah, I think those who read Darwin, those have heard of the Darwin, he people argue that he coined the term survival of the fittest, but that is actually okay. Just a small excerpt from what he meant in the whole sentence. The whole sentence of that survival of the fittest actually comes from this statement. It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the intelligent, but the one that is most responsive to change. So, surviving, being fittest in Charles Darwin terminology is not about being strong or being smart. It's about being responsive. It may take both. So, both survive through being the strongest and intelligent, but it's how we respond. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you a picture now. Right? To understand what is VUCA, okay, we have to understand, we have to have this picture, this framework of how the management world exists today. Okay, and I cannot run away from the fact that we are all part of the system. We have to view management, whether you are a manager of a family unit, whether you are a manager of a small medium enterprise unit, whether you work in a university as a docent, whether you are a professor in Harvard universities, a CEO of a multinational corporation, you and me, we are part of a system. This is the first thing that we have to have in our mind. why we are affected by VUCA and how we can actually solve this problem. We have to have this picture in mind that we are all part of a system. Uh, um, a lot of a lot of um, uh, my colleague did not agree with my statement when I say we are part of a system. But imagine this, okay? Um, how do I describe what I mean that we are part of a system and how it relates to management? Now, uh, um, essentially, in a system, there are two main components. Okay, there are two main components in a system. Number one is this circle here, eh? This blue, this red. Okay, these are what we call system component. Okay, and another element that exists in a system is this line here, this link. This link we call it, from the system perspective, we call it arc. From the management perspective, we call it relation. Okay, so any systems, if we try to manage a system, we are basically managing the component, number one, and number two, we are managing the relation. This is the basic in any management. And we are facing with the VUCA because of we are part of a system. There are some interference in our system components and interference in the relations between the system components. Let me give you an example, a very simple one. Okay. Um, uh, the University of Kebangsaan Malaysia, where I'm working at. Okay, we have 14 faculties. 14 faculties. Okay, so the faculties are connected to each other faculties. How? Through what? Through teaching. The relation is teaching. We teach the student. The student is the small component of UKM. For example, these are the faculty number one. This is our faculty number two. And the small one here are our students. We are connected through the relation of teaching. So, if anything happened to the faculty, what will it affect? It will not just affect the faculty because we are connected through the relations. Through the relations, it will affect the whole system that we call University Kebangsaan Malaysia. Now, this is the frame of mind that I want you to have before I proceed with my next lecture. We view management as part of a system that consists of the components. The components can be the human resource, it can be the organization, it can be the university, it can be the faculties, it can be you, the students, yourself. And you are connected with the system through multiple kind of relations. Okay? All right. So managing this system to make it perform its function is basically managing its component and managing its relation. Now, I'm going to show you next a picture is what will be an effect of a failure to manage a system properly and what will you get when you manage a system properly. Okay? Now, this is a picture. This is in a satellite image. Okay? A satellite image of two countries. Okay? South Korea and North Korea. Okay? If you have some times tonight, okay, you can go to Google image. Okay? And you can watch the satellite image of this peninsular Korea. If you watch K-pop, a K-drama, it used to be called Joseon. Yeah, they call it Joseon, but now it's the North and South Korea. Now, okay, I'm gonna have some dialogue with you guys. I don't like to have monologue in my sharing. I like to have dialogue. No, I'm gonna ask Hapsari, mine. Okay, what can you tell? What can you see in this picture? What can you visibly tell about this picture?
In this picture, we can see that South Korea is full of lights
Yes.
while North Korea is dark.
Yeah,
It's
except in
like,
Pyongyang. Yeah, this is Pyongyang.
yes,
Yeah, this is where the president lives. So it has to be gleaming with lights. Okay. Now, this is nothing political. Okay. Now, okay. So yes, thank you, Help. Sorry. Yes, there is a different in terms of the lights. Okay. The north is dark at night, but the south is shimmering with light. It's almost like you're watching a sea of light, right? Now, my next question will be, why do you think South Korea is so full, so it's like a sea of light, and the north is so dark at night? Hmm. Can I ask Mika Kurnia? I see your name here in the participant list. Mika
Yeah,
Kurnia.
that's me, Prof.
Oh, sorry.
It's
Sorry, bro. Okay. Irfa.
Ifa,
Can I ask Irfa? Yeah? You know?
Iva or Eva.
Irfa. But it's okay. No problem. I'm just gonna describe to you what it is. Okay. Now, in terms of why it's it's the sea of light versus dark of night, it's essentially because the light is an indication of economic development. Okay. Um, South Korea is filled with a lot of development. You okay? You can see it. In fact, if you go and do an economic development analysis, one of the things that you ask for the basic indication is utilities, water and electricity. And so by economic standards, okay, South is way ahead than North. Okay, it's way ahead than North. Uh, but you have to remember this: before there is a North and before there is a South, okay, there were Joseon. They were one peninsula. What I'm trying to say is that the people in the North, the people in the South, they share the same culture, they share the same food, they share the same weather, they even share the same language. Now, if they share many things so much, why is South is so successful today versus the North, which is still dark at night? The answer to that question is the success of the system. Economic system is the South is so advanced. Political system of the South is so advanced. Society system of the South is so advanced. Every component in the South is connected to each other through multiple kind of relation. They have a good local government. They have a good state government. They have a good national government. They are able to create a very successful system from bottom up that we call now the South Korea. What is the result of it? The world, is enjoying it. We see a lot of K drama. We see a lot of K movies. You guys are using Samsung as your phone. You drive Hyundai. You drive Kia. You breathe the aircon of Daewoo. That is the result of a successful system. And what can you taste? What literally come out from North Korea? Nothing. Except for every now and then in April, the North Korea will launch nuclear ballistic missile. Just to show the world that we are powerful. South Korea doesn't have to do that. And yet we are dancing to the tune of BTS and Blackpink. Okay? Now that is the result of successful system. Okay? So ask ourselves, Are we managing our system properly? Can we be the next South Korea? Or are we going to be the next North Korea? Now, the thing is, today, the thing about the systems, okay, it's dynamic. Okay, you can be the South Korea of the world today. You can be the North Korea of the world in 50 years' time. We have seen a lot of government fail. A lot of government reach the epitome of society and it fall. Okay, we have seen that because it's dynamic. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are faced with these new challenges to the system of management called the Bukka. So we need to understand what it is. We need to embrace it, and we need to be able to face it with whatever methods or methodology that we have. Now, what is Bukka? Okay. Now, this is what Bukka is. It consists of four characteristics, four part of the world, four elements of the world that affecting the systems that we are living in today. Okay, it's affecting the performance of the system, the management of the system, whether it's small or big. It is affecting us. Okay, 360 degrees. Okay, and the challenges that comes and affecting us, the different variables affecting us in because it has these four characteristics. Number one, the things that we see today is volatile. Okay. Number two, we are faced in the world of uncertainties. There's so many uncertainties. Number three is complex. And number four is ambiguous. So that's why it's called VUCA. And it is affecting the system. Had we not lived in the system, then VUCA may not affect us at all. But we are part of a system. Remember when I said about a systems? Okay, if because we are a system, anything that changes somewhere in Malaysia, economic or society, it will have what we call a ripple effect in Indonesia. Okay, because of this buka work. So what are they? What are these buka? Now let's get into the definition of it. Number one is volatile or volatility. Okay, we have to remember that with the advancements of technology, with the advancements of transportation, with the advancements of communication, okay, the world, the world that we call the system that we call the world today is more turbulent. Okay, because there's so many uncertainties. Let me just give you an example. Somewhere about a year and a half ago, there was this one ship. Okay, it's the Evergreen. Eh? It was moving, crossing the Swiss Canal. It's crossing the Swiss Canal. One huge ship crossing the Swiss Canal. Now, Swiss Canal has been around since the early 1900. Okay, so ships have been crossing Swiss Canal every single day. Okay, the Swiss Canal cuts the world of transportation logistic by more than a week. Otherwise, people have to go across the Cape of Hope of Africa, okay, to get to Europe. So they cross the Swiss Canal. Okay, so it saved a lot of days in the terms of logistics. But one day, about a year and a half ago, one ship called the Evergreen was stuck in the middle of Swiss Canal. Stuck because of a strong wind. It's stuck in the Swiss Canal. Okay, now this is just one ship. There are hundreds and thousands of other ships in this world. crossing the ocean, the 7 seas, sending materials all over the world. This is just one ship, but it was blocking the Swiss Canal. The result of it, okay, there are 185 other ships. Now it takes about a week or so to get the ship clear, to get it clear, the Swiss Canal, to fix the damage. Okay, 185 ships have to wait behind the ship, the evergreen ship. Okay, now again, 185, it's small compared to hundreds and thousands of other ships exist in the world crossing the 7 seas. But then again, these ships carried a lot of essential items for big companies of the world. It consists of livestock. It consists of crude oil. It consists of cars. It consists of microchips. What happened because of this blockage is that, Panasonic, okay, Panasonic factory in Albuquerque, United States, was not able to have the chips it required to produce its electronics. It causes, okay, Apple computers, okay, inability to meet the demand of its consumers for more than a month. A month for Apple is millions of phones and computers. It causes the disruption. The price increases tremendously. This is what we call volatility. We live in the world of the volatility. We are in the world of volatility. Okay? And then there is this thing that we call uncertainties. Okay? The thing is, ladies and gentlemen, okay, we don't know what will happen tomorrow. In fact, we don't know what will happen half an hour later after my lectures. Oh, I'm not sure what will happen in half an hour later. We don't know. Okay, it creates uncertainties. As an academic myself, Dr. Mika, we do a lot of data analysis to predict the future. Okay, we want to see what the future will bring. We try to create mathematical models to predict the future. Okay, the thing about predicting or forecasting is that is this. This is how we deal with certainties. We forecast, we predict, we analyze data. The thing about forecasting is this. Okay, we forecast into the future to match the certainties, to reduce uncertainties. Okay, for example, I'm trying to give my lecture for 2 years now. Okay, so but there's always something that came up, okay, that removed my possibilities of giving these lectures. So I end up what I said to myself is that I just have to commit into the future. Okay, I put everything else last year. I put everything else aside, put my schedule. Okay, I told Dr. Mika I'm coming on this month, on this date, on this hour. Okay, but that was my plan. That is how I focus in the future. But on that day itself, my mother was hospitalized because she was ill. Okay, Alhamdulillah, she's better now. But this is what I said. Okay, this is what I'm trying to say. Because we face with uncertainties, we try to focus into the future. The thing about forecasting, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the graph, the future, the more further into the future that you focus, the higher is the potential of error. Okay, all right. So how do we deal with it? Okay, this is the world that we live in management. This is what we are facing it. If you go out, when you graduate from the universities, you go into the world, interact, and you work with the companies, the government, and whatnot. This is what you are facing, uncertainties. So how do we overcome this. Okay, something that I'll share later on. Then we have complexity. Now, this is an example. The COVID-19, it creates so many uncertainties. Uncertainties. Okay, we can see, excuse me, okay, electronics of the world is affected because of COVID-19. Okay, almost all countries in the world. The red one is the one that most affected because of COVID-19. Okay, and the degree of effect is different as well because of this effect of COVID-19. There's so many things that COVID-19 causes. Okay, and we are not able to have a fixed solutions in the face of COVID-19. Okay, there is always lockdown. Okay, um, there is always the threat of lockdown because of uncertainties. Okay, and then the world is also becoming more complex. Okay, the thing about the world as a system, the university as a system, your classroom as a system, is that okay? It's always becoming more complex. How is it happening? How does it become more complex? Number one is because every single day, every single week, every single year, that system components grow. It grows. It grows in terms of attributes, and it grows in terms of numbers as well. Today, we have about 40 plus students, 40 plus participants in our lecture. Okay, now Hapsari, as the master of ceremony, only have to manage 44 souls or 44 individuals in this session. But suddenly, what if the number of participants increases to like 400? Okay, then the photo sharing session will become more difficult for her to handle. Yeah, instead of 21 or 44, now it's become 400. Now she has to have more management, more communication to do that. That is just the simplest form. And this thing is happening as well, ladies and gentlemen. The complexity increases. One of the source of this complexity is because the relations increases as well. Okay, communications between what we call formal and informal communication within the system increases tremendously. Okay, it creates this threats to management. It creates these difficulties to management. Okay, the formal relation within the management within the system is something that you can see. That's not a problem. For example, if Dr. Mika as the coordinator, as the lecturers, okay, she has that formal relation as the lecturers to the students, as colleague to her office mate and other lecturers as well. That's a formal relation. But the thing is, within any system, okay, there is what we call the informal relation. Okay, informal relation. This is when, okay, this is where information sharing happens more. Okay, this is where we gossips in the informal relation. This is where we gossip. This is where we share personal information. Okay, and the system becomes stronger. Sometimes not because of the formal relation, it's because of the informal relation. And right now, because of the world is advancing so fast in terms of technology and communication, the informal relation has been embedded in many layers. We have WhatsApp group. Okay, in your classroom, you have one formal WhatsApp group, and then you have 3 or 4 other informal WhatsApp. Okay, so it creates this complexity as well. Yeah, this is what I mean by the system layers or layers of communication. And then ambiguity. Okay, today we have so many signs, we have so many information. Okay, to an extent, okay, in Malaysia, we have to create a special act that we call the Fake News Act, because there's so many information. Uh, we have to create this Fake News Act to prevent information, wrong information, to be shared within the diosphere of communication. It creates that. What result is that when we get information, we are not sure whether this is the correct one or not. Ambiguity emerge. Okay, so it creates these problems. Okay, so these four elements. Sorry. So these four elements: volatility, uncertainties, complex, and ambiguous. Okay, is what challenging the management today and of the future. It's what, if we are able to manage this, the VUCA, okay, we will become South Korea. Otherwise, if there is so many uncertainties, ambiguity in terms of the system management, we may end up, one day like the North. And don't be surprised that one day the North can be more advanced than our countries, because they embrace the systems and they embrace how to face this VUCA. Right now, but it is not to say, okay, that the VUCA that is threatening the management of the system today emerge out of the blue. No, it's not. Okay, it is not something that, like Thanos. Yeah, when he snapped his fingers, everyone gone. And when Iron Man snapped his fingers, everyone just appeared again. No, it is not emerge out of the blue. No, VUCA emerge because of what we do good as well. This is this is the paradox that we have to understand. VUCA emerged because we want to be, we in our system, we want it to be lean. We want our system to be just in time. What is it I mean by just in time? Okay, when we, as a system, university as a system, it has an output, it has objective, it has outcome. The outcome of the university, the output is you guys, the students. You go through, you come in year one, you go through the process, you meet Dr. Mika and going through her class and lectures. After 3 years, the outcome is you yourself graduate from the university. Okay, universities as a system that produce graduates would like to be as lean as possible. We don't want to put you in university longer than 3 years, because if it's longer than 3 years, then you will have to face more challenges when you go out there as a working people. Okay, you lost time there, age and knowledge as well. So we create what we call this just-in-time practice, just-in-time principle. Okay. Number two, in businesses, in the context of businesses, we are so driven, okay, by outsourcing. By outsourcing. Is it bad? No, it's not. Okay. We outsource what we think not our core function. What isn't our core function, we outsource it. For example, I like to use my university as an example. In University Kebangsaan Malaysia, our core functions of the lecturers are to do research. Every year we are being measured based on the amount of publication what we produce. I have to say, okay, but to a certain extent, that okay, um, uh, research becomes our number one activity. Okay, and lecturing is secondary. Okay, to an extent that we outsource sometimes, okay, additional classes to other lecturers from outside university. Okay, so to that certain extent, the core is what we need to fulfill. Okay, and it's not to say outsourcing is bad. We do this because we believe that this will be focusing on the core and we can be a better system. It's not to say it's bad. It is one of the best approach. And number two is that we tend to do centralization in our system production, okay, in the distribution of our resources. We like to centralize, okay, we like to hold that power, okay, even though sometimes we have, I think in your management classes you have seen what a metric structure looks like, what horizontal structure looks like, what a vertical structure looks like. We have so much methodology of structures, but eventually we go back to centralizations of power. Okay, right? And then last but not least, we are here. We are here in the world of VUCA because of reduction. Okay, this is what the business world have been doing. Okay, when managing the system. If we go back to this structure, okay, managing complexity in the system have always been about simplifying the system. This is what we think the best approach. Simplify the system. If you think it's too complex, we simplify the system. If we think the question is too long, we simplify it. Okay, simplification has been simplification has been our number one approach when we manage this complexity or reduction. In that case, what we do is, what the problem is, okay, when we do reduction in managing, is that, okay, we are removing the system component. We throw away the system component. When we throw away the system components, we did not just remove this component. What comes with it? Remember, two things that make up a system: the components and the relation. So when we remove this component, we are also removing the relation that this component has with other component in the system. The result will be rejection. Sometimes, if that component is like very central in the system, okay. So I've seen this happen a lot. Okay, I've seen this happen in a lot of my work, where we remove or we fired, the company fired staff that is considered irrelevant or underperforming without looking into why. Okay, this is how we tend to manage our system that we do today. And I like to emphasize this to the listeners, to the participants. This is what we do most of the time. When we do management, we tend to manage our system, our organization as a system, our school as a system. We tend to manage them by managing the attributes of the system. What do I mean by that? It's simple like this. Okay, if Hapsari is my operation manager, okay, uh, last year she was doing very well. This year she's not performing at the level that she is required. Okay, right? So through the assessment that we do every annually, we try to look at it from the form perspective. Look at and Hamsari says, okay, maybe lack of training. So we send her for training to improve her attributes, her skills as an operation manager. This is what we do all the time. Okay, this is what we do. This is what managers do. This is what I have observed. The thing is, ladies and gentlemen, okay, we are focusing on what we can see, which is the attributes. Okay, the skill is not up to date. Remember, the think about a system, the component Hapsari attribute is just one of the many elements, and she is also connected to other components within that system. Maybe her underperformance is not due to lack of training, but due to the lack of relation within that system. We have seen this a lot. People leaving the organization, not because of attributes, because of relation. Okay? So if we face with this Bukka and we apply these approaches that actually causes the problem of VUCA in the first place. Okay, are we doing the right thing? Clearly it's not. We are not giving what the system needs. Okay, right? There is two ways that we usually handle problem in the system. Okay, and I have to borrow this terminology from the medical field. They call it symptomatic. Okay, usually what I just said when I handle the problem with Hapsari as the operation manager is what we call symptomatic solution. There is a symptom of Hapsari not able to perform well as a component of my system, so I send her for training. Okay, when she come back, she may do well for 3 months, but after that her performance will dwindle down again. Why? Because the solution was only symptomatic. It's like when you are so stressful at work. You come to work, you see pile of files, this high on your table. Okay, so high. So you are so stressful. So you suggest that, oh, I need to go for a break. So you go for a holiday, and you come back, the file is still there. It's symptomatic. What we need to do is to provide a systematic solution. So how do we do that? Okay, how do we do that? Now, so this is what I mean by centralization and reduction. Now, how do we do that? To overcome the threat of VUCA, we need to create a system that is resilient and efficient. Okay, efficient, it's okay. What we try to do is managing waste. Managing waste in our system. Not just, remember, okay, waste can be relations, waste can be component. We need to manage that so that we can be more efficient. The next one is resilient. Resilient means we are able, okay, we are able to recover quickly from challenges. So we need to create this ER, not emergency room. It's just a terminology that I put, ER system, efficient and resilient system. Okay, all right. So how do we do that? How can we create a resilient and efficient system. Okay, as managers, as students of management school, all right, so you need to understand this. As students of accounting, you need to understand this even better, even more. Okay, because when you deal with numbers, all right, okay, you deal with decision makers. The outcome of your analysis will be a decisions in making. So we need to handle this. So how can we be a good managers? How can we be a good accountants? How can we have a better systems of management? To have these resiliencies and efficiencies, I'm proposing what we call agile system, agile management. Okay, there is this thing called agile accounting today. Okay, so I'm proposing what we call an agile systems of management. Okay, what it means is that management systems that can respond rapidly to changes to VUCA. How can we do that? There are 6 constructs can be done to create this agility. Number 1 is synchronization. Okay, synchronization between the system component, between various departments in the organization. Synchronization. We must be able to share, we must be able to communicate in sync. Synchronization. It's difficult. Now, what does synchronization involve? Synchronization involves the relationship components in the system. So what you need to do? You need to understand what are the relations that exist. Number 2 is visible. Visibility of information is key. Okay, I have seen a lot in my work, in my research, okay, when organizations are working in silo. Yeah, in silo. The marketing work in marketing, production work in productions, finance work in finance, in silo. When in fact they are part of the system of the organization. Okay, we, well, there is this thing that we call competition that causes people to work in silo. Okay, but it comes and bite us back in the back. So visibility of information is key. We need to share this information between the system components. Number 3 is connection. Okay, connection, relationships. All right, the connections between components from organization and the marketplace must be close. You have to stay close to the marketplace. You have to stay close to your client. You have to stay close to the consumers. Connections. Okay, and this goes upstream and downstream. Okay, we are connected to our clients in the upstream. We are connected to our client in the downstream. We have to stay connected, close connection, build that relation. Okay. Number 4. Okay, this is one important thing that I want to highlight. Okay. In management that I've seen a lot. Okay, we are focusing a lot on functions. What is the functions of the general managers? You have to do this. What is the functions of the officers to perform your function? What is the functions of a lecturer? You have to perform your function. What is the danger of focusing on functions? The danger is that, okay, you are only looking at your next component that you are connected to. Okay, that's the danger. When in fact, in a system management, you are connected to everybody, whether directly or indirectly. If we go back to this diagram that I just showed, okay, here, okay, so this is the system. So this can be Dr. Mika, okay, all right. So if she's focusing on her function, okay, if I focus on my functions as a lecturer, yeah, I will not be able to see, okay, that I am affecting other stakeholders that relies on me. Okay, that's why as a lecturers, we are responsible for our students. We are responsible for the community. We are also responsible for the management. Okay, we are looking at things from processes. Focus on process instead of just focus on function. If we see things as a process from A to B to C, how to produce good students after 3 years, okay, the student is here. Then we can see how we connect in the system, how we can better the performance of the system. Okay, so because of these processes, we have to abandon, okay, competition and focus more on collaboration. Okay, collaboration between the system components. And last but not least, I'm also proposing what we call, because we're talking about efficiencies, managing the system's waste, we have to look from perspective of T and S. What is T? T is time. What is S? S is space. In the process, to create this agile process system, we have to continuously look at times. We have to continuously look at space. These are two main important resources that an organization can have. By space, I mean connections between the components. By time, I mean how fast is the processes in the system. Okay, for example, if it took 3 years for students to graduate from a university, okay, why can't we do it in 2.5 years? Can we reduce the time? Can we reduce the process? Because we are facing the VUCA. I'm just asking the question, can we improve the time from 2.5 years? Some other universities in Japan already doing it in 2 years. Okay? Because they embrace the VUCA. They reduce the time. The other thing is space. Between the processes, between this component is space. If you go back to the introductions of your management, I think you all remember what a scientific management is. Yeah? Scientific management, Frederick W. Taylor, an engineer that says the system can be better managed if we can reduce the space. Manage the space. If you study the book of, if you read the book of scientific management by Frederick W. Taylor, okay, how does he come out with this scientific management idea? He was looking at a group of workers shoveling ores, shoveling ores, taking the ores to a furnace. This is a steel company, that turn iron into liquid so that they can shape it into whatever form they want. So they need to have a furnace that continuously burns. So that furnace must be fed with ores, arang, arang, must be fed with ores all the time. So they do it manually, use man. So Frederick W. Taylor observed that in this system, some of the men were soldiering. Okay, Frederick W. Taylor called it soldiering. What does soldiering mean? There are 8 workers, for example. 1 workers were able to carry about 3 kilos of arang, ores, into the furnace. The other workers were only taking like 2 kilos. One is only doing 1 kilos. Soldiering. Okay, so and there is also, in terms of steps from the ores to the furnace, someone is taking like 12 steps. There are those who take 8 steps. There are those walk leisurely and taking like 20 steps. Space. So what he did is that he changed the shape of the shovel. Okay, he put markers on the floor so that people can manage the steps equally. That is time and space management. I'm not saying that we should say there is no humanistic elements in system management. No. But what I'm saying is that to be agile, we need to understand the space that we're working with and the time that we're working with. Otherwise, when uncertainties comes, when volatility comes, how do you face it? If you don't understand the time that you can manage or the space that you can reduce. Okay, so these are the 6 constructs. Okay, that we can actually adopt if you want to manage, okay, our systems. If we want to manage this VUCA world, the result of this, okay, I see that I'm coming into the end of my lectures. I have like 10 minutes more, less than 10 minutes. Yeah. So the result of this, okay. Of course, we have to do this today. We have Industry 4.0. With IR 4.0, we can have better management of the system. We cannot run away from it. We have to embrace it. Big data. What can big data do? What can artificial intelligence do? Today, you can drive a car while sleeping on the driver's seat, in the driver's seat. You can do that. Okay? You can rest your head sleeping in the driver's seat and let the car do the work, driving, because of big data and because of the artificial intelligence. Okay? And when Dr. Meka highlighted that the future will be challenging for accounting, okay, people have also argued that with big data and artificial intelligence, will accounting will still be relevant in the future? The work of an accountant will still be relevant in the future? Throw you that question. Will it still be relevant? People say that accounting is also about ethics. Auditing is about ethics. Machine cannot tell ethics. Machine have no ethics. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we are facing with. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, everything that we do, whether you wake up today to come to class or not, okay, whether you decided to wear a black scarf or a red scarf, it's all what the machine called 1 and 0. Binary. It's 1 and 0. That's how the machine reads. With enough data of how Hapsari wear her scarf every day, with enough data to analyze, I can tell tomorrow Hapsari may don the pink scarf. With enough data. This is what artificial intelligence can do. As long as we have the data. No, so yeah. Okay, when Dr. Mika raised the questions, the threats, the challenges of VUCA, the big data to accounting, yes, the threat, the challenges is there. But big data, artificial intelligence also has its limits. It's only function as good as the algorithm that we put in it. Okay. All right. So yeah. So big data, artificial intelligence, we cannot run away with it. To have a good system, an agile system, we have to rely on. Okay. Otherwise, okay, we will be left behind by other company, by other organization, because big data create faster decision making. Okay. Now, what will be the result of it? What will be the outcome of it, of this agility, agile framework that I propose? Two things. Okay. With this, it will give dynamic capabilities to the organization. Remember, we're talking about agile. Remember, we're talking about how the systems of management become more responsive, more efficient. Using the framework of agile, it will give the organization the needed dynamic capabilities. Remember, dynamic means is that you are able, okay, to move left and right, up and down when the VUCA comes. You have to have that dynamic. The capacity of the organization, okay, to integrate, reconfigure when the challenges come with the changing environment. You have to have the dynamic. Okay. Number two is, sorry. Number two is structural flexibility. Okay, with dynamic, and you understand what are the system component and the system relation. Okay. Hapsari can be somewhere in Indonesia. I can be here in Malaysia. Dr. Mika can be somewhere in Indonesia, sorry, in London, for example. But the university can still function because we have that structural flexibility. Okay, we are able to react, we are able to perform despite, okay, that challenges of geographical. Okay, so overcoming that, okay, yeah, in management, for example, in management, to do this, we have to understand that in management, to be structurally flexible, we have to understand who are in our system. Okay, who are in our component system of a component. We have the customers, we have the company, your company, we have suppliers, we have your suppliers, and we have to understand the relation. The relation always, ladies and gentlemen, okay, this is something that I have to adopt from the field operations management, to identify what are the construct of relation in a system so that it can be flexible and dynamic. Any forms, any communication, any relations that exist in organizational system always fall under these 5 categories. Number 1 is you plan. Yeah, you plan. Number 2 is you source. Number 3 is you produce, you make, you manufacture. Number 4 is you deliver. And number 5 is the return. Okay, so that create that relation. Okay, overcoming, again, just to wrap up my lectures today, overcoming the VUCA requires us to understand that we have to be agile. The world will be becoming more VUCA. Okay, we have to be agile. And to be agile, we need to have responsive and efficient system. How do we do that? The 6th construct of agility is how. The result will be the dynamics and flexible system. Okay, and that will give you a better approach, okay, in facing the volatile, uncertainties, complex and ambiguous uh, world of management. Okay, and that after that, all the leadership theory that you've learned, all the SWOT analysis that you've learned, it will go well into this system. Okay, it's not to say that those are irrelevant. No, managing it need for you to have understanding the macro picture of the world, of the management of the system, those leadership theories, those strategic management comes in to make the system better. Okay, all right. So um, this is something that I've just said. Okay, now this is just the usually when I shared with my industry participant, I will go into this level of structural and dynamic flexibilities, how to break it down into more detail. Okay, which it consists of three layers. The process elements, configurations, process type, configuration, process elements, and implementation, just to make it more structural and dynamic for the system. Okay, all these management functions has already been identified. The relations can be better managed. The components can be better identified. Okay, all right. I think I've come to the end of my time. Okay, given the hour long that I have. Yeah, I end my lectures with thank you, and I hope you understand what I'm trying to deliver. Okay, the point and how we should view management and the world of management today. Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Lokhman. Very insightful for everyone, including me. And before we go to the question and answer, I would like to highlight some your thoughts. Yeah, that VUCA doesn't only impact large organization, everyone, yeah, small, medium, and individual. And in the context of uncertainty, for example, yes, we do not know for sure what we will face today or in the future. Even these students maybe already thinking, or every day you have to think what will be in the future when you graduate, because you know that you face a lot of challenges and also both opportunities. The lesson that we just learned from today's lesson is uh, VUCA bring to us both dangers and also opportunity, and that's the thing that we have to do, or to think which one that we want to take, because both danger and opportunity now in front of us. Uh, Dr. Lokhman provides several insights for us that there are 6 keys that we have to consider when we live in VUCA world, like ability to share, the synchronization, yeah, and process to focus, collaboration. Yeah, now we are living in Avengers world, not Superman or superhero, yeah, but Avengers. Yeah, so we have to collaborate. We have to think in a teamwork and so on. We also have to consider the time and space that we have, and we have to connect with others. And also the other things that we should to consider is like the visibility of information. That's very important for living in VUCA world, because especially because mostly people have a condition. What is I said, seeing is believing. Yeah, so people will do when we see something. Yeah, when we see something. So uncertainty is a condition that not not good for mostly people in the world, because we cannot see some things. When we see some things, then we believe to do something. So how to make us or everyone to see, by like Dr. Lokhman said that what is the availability of information and how we deal with the information, how we use it, how we like predict the future, not only like a prediction, but we have to learn from the past. We have to like yeah, to think, to calculate, yeah, to figure out what kind of future that we want to have, yeah, in the future world. And yes, dynamic capabilities and flexibility is two strategies that we can adopt to live in VUCA world. And remember, Innallaha la yughayyiru bi Innallaha la yughayyiru ma biqaumin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. Indeed, Allah doesn't change the conditions of a people until we change, yeah, or they change what is themselves. So this is very a good lesson from Dr. Lokhman, that when people say that VUCA or today's world provides such kind of threats, we can like learn, we can choose our path or our ways to get more opportunities, and also what is like a benefits from today's world. So now we have a question and answer question, but before go to that, let's give big applause to Dr. Lokhman. Thank you very much for your insightful lessons. And now I will give you time for raising hand and ask questions. One question for one student first, yeah? So please, if you have any questions, let me check. I can see there are more than 40 students in here, so this is a very good opportunity for you to learn more from Dr. Lokhman. Okay, please, who will ask a question? All right. In my class, usually students who has a lot curiosity is maybe I will ask someone. Balkis, maybe? Oh, there are two Balkis, yeah. Balkis Sulaimah and Balkis Zulfina. Okay, please. One of you, Balkis. Oh, Balkis Zulfina, you just, yeah, Balkis Zulfina, please. Please unmute first, and then if you have any concern, maybe your thought, your idea, or questions that can be shared with us today, please. Where is Balkis? You should unmute first. Yes, Balkis, Sylvina, unmute. Any concern that you want to talk to us? Balkis, Sylvina, Alfiana. Okay, suddenly you, yeah, suddenly you, ini ya, blank ya. Alright, siapa nih? Okay, we have overseas students here. Abdurrahman Babat. Abdurrahman Babat is in Yemen, ya. Abdurrahman, can you hear me? Yes. No question. Or Habib Amin Mohammed. Habib is, I'm not sure which one, right? From Sudan or from Yemen?
It's from one.
Yes, Habib.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any concern, questions that want to say? All right. Okay,
Not
Hapsari,
sir.
please.
Is clear. Thank you, sir.
Anyone who want to write in the chat room, please do so. Because, oh, okay, Abdurrahman, you cannot talk because your mic isn't working. Okay, you can write in the chat room if you want to do that. Ya, please. Siapa Hapsari yang mau tanya tadi?
No, Miss. I think because some of them cannot open mic, I thought it would be nice to be in chat,
Oh ya,
box
okay.
in chat.
Ya, ya, ya. Okay. Okay, yeah. While we are waiting for question from students, okay, okay, I have a light here. Siapa yang mau tanya nih? Hapsari, can you help me because my Zoom like a freezing ya. Saya nggak bisa, I cannot move the ini.
Yes.
Hapsari, can you change the ini the appearance of the Zoom, please? Maybe ini memang nge-freeze ya?
No, Miss. It
Oh
is
no.
not.
Oh, so my my connection is not good, yeah, maybe, yeah. So, okay. While we are waiting for question, maybe we can start by discussion. Dr. Lokhman, I'm in the Faculty of Economic and Business UMY. I'm focusing on human resource management. So therefore, that's why I'm teaching introduction to management and human resource management. And I keen to share, not share, but to like get insight from you about human resource management in FUCA situation. Yes, we know that human resource. I agree with you that human resource is a one key for not only anticipating but also adapting and living in a FUCA situation, because you just mentioned that from the perspective of human resource, accountant can be what is can be source of advantages, yeah, competitive advantages of the company. Yes, we have to live with the such kind of machine, such kind of technology, but I agree with you that our mind, our thought can be replaced with anyone. Even we can, even two person cannot be in the same, cannot having the same thought and what is like maybe yeah thought. The challenge today is not only from like what is the ability or the advantages of human resource, but also from the changing of generations. Yeah, I want to share with you because this is my concern right now. I've been teaching for 20 years at UMY, and therefore I have experience to teach different generation, and now become more challenging for me. What is like teaching the last generation, and also I'm thinking about what kind of like a situation that this generation have to understand from today, because I in the like 6 years ago there is no YouTube, no such kind of that. Now we are living in that kind of world, and I do not know what kind of new word that these students will face, and how to anticipate with this situation, Dr. Lokhman. So I always say that okay, we live in unpredictable situation, therefore we have to learn like planning, organizing, something like that. Yeah, because some people say why we do have plan, or why we do have a planning when we live in uncertainty world. I agree with you that because we are living in uncertainty world, therefore we have to like what is plan to provide more what is manageable situation. But I want hear from your perspective that can be become what is insight from my students in this class when they graduate. It kind of like next year or maybe 4 years later. Yeah, because in this class also new students. Yeah, from the accountant perspective, what we should prepare right now, while FUCA will maybe will still happen. Yeah, I mean this is never ending situation that we will face. So would you like to share to us, Dr. Lokhman?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that, Dr. Mika. Um, I I studied I studied system um, to understand management. So I studied system. So so what I'm proposing to all, not just for accounting, not just for management, not just for operation marketing. Okay, I always says that you need to have the right kind of uh, um, theoretical view of your problems. Okay, so um, uh, that's why I adopt system theory. Okay, from the engineering field into management. Okay, because I believe that we live in a system. Okay, to solve all the problems, accounting, human resource, marketing, engineering. Okay, to solve problems, we need to understand and go back and understand our system. Okay, as I mentioned, because we live in a system, then the problem can only comes from two things. Number one is the lack of attributes in the components. Number two, the inability for us to understand the relation among the components. So, for example, in the world of accounting, okay, today the accounting world have advanced itself through technologies, through softwares. Okay, I still remember when I was in high school, we do bookkeeping with this huge book. Okay, balance out asset and liability, debit and credit. Okay, but today those data can be extracted by a system. Okay, from, yeah, huge large amount of data. Okay, because of the advancement. But the thing is, who do this and what the relation that exists? Those components and those relations, okay, still exist in that system. So for the students of accounting moving into the systems of accounting world, working accounting environment, You need to understand, okay, what are the components that exist within that system? What attributes, if you are holding the post of auditors, what attributes of you as a system component called an auditors that you have to have so that you can face that VUCA that coming and threatening you, your performance. Number two is that you also have to understand what relations as an auditor that you must possess, you must have, you must master so that you can function well in that systems. Okay, so that's what I said. I always told my clients, my students, you have to have a good theoretical framework before you can solve a problem. Okay, and I always insist, some people have a different theory. I hold on to a different theory. Mine is a system theory. If you can improve the system component, it can be the human resources, it can be your suppliers, it can be your boss. Or if you can understand the relationship better, you can have this good performance producing the output that the system requires that you to do. And if we are to go into the application part of it, this is where you need to have, for example, CPA. For example, increase your attributes by having your CPA. Okay, this is where you need to have good attributes in terms of relation by communicating with your clients every single day. Remember, relations build social capital. Social capital such as trust, reputations, and influence. The only way that you can invest, the only way for you to invest in relation is by increasing the amount of time that you invest in building your relation. It's not like touch and go. No. Investing in relation requires investing in times of building up relation. Okay? So that's what I mean. So the theoretical framework is that the application of it has various approaches. It's up to you to choose. But always remember this. In whichever environment that you go in, whether in accounting, human resource management, the problem comes when there is an issue with the components attributes or with the management of the relationship among the component in the system that you are working in. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much. I can see here there are questions. Yeah. First from siapa ini? Hapsari? Balkis, yeah.
Balkis.
So the second question for Dr. Lokhman. What's the
Yes.
most important leadership skills today since we are facing a rapid and changing world and how we manage human resource today? Okay, still human resource, yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, please.
No worries. So I can see here the question is what kind of leadership should be there in a VUCA world? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What is essential in the VUCA world? What kind of leadership should be there in the VUCA world? Okay. Now, if you go back in management, you see there's a lot of leadership theory. Okay. You can be Adolf Hitler and still be effective as a leader. Yeah. Hey, prove me wrong, because Adolf Hitler managed to influence 2 million Germans to go to war with him. So he is an effective leader with a different type of leadership. Or you can be Mahatma Gandhi, okay, who on his deathbed, he only has a pair of broken glasses, a pair of sandals, okay, and white cloth covering his body. He has no earthly or material possession at all. And still he is a good leader. Okay. And of course, the number one, okay, rank after years of research, the number one example of leadership is our Prophet Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what I'm saying is that, okay, there's a lot of leadership skills out there. And if you understand leadership, you know that there is no fixed kind of leadership. Leadership depends on situations. Leadership depends on behavior. You can adopt any type of leadership. Situational leadership, behavioral leadership, it can be applied. Okay? What makes Adolf Hitler successful, he understood what components that he needs to understand, control, what relation that he needs to build. Okay? But it's not sustainable. Okay, eventually, yeah, someone else win the war. Okay, now I'm not saying for you to be the next Adolf Hitler, no, but to answer the kind of leadership that should be there in the VUCA world, as I propose to you to have a dynamic structure, I'm also proposing to you to always have a dynamic leadership skill. Okay, because there's a lot of leadership theory. Don't just bog down with one leadership style only. Different situations demand you different leadership skills. Okay, before I am in academia, I was a naval officer in the Royal Malaysian Navy. When I was an officer in the Malaysian Navy, it demands me a different type of leadership skill because I function in a different system. But now as in academia, it's a different system. So I have to bring in a different type of leadership skill. Okay? So to answer that question, the leadership skill has to be dynamic. Okay? Because we are facing the VUCA world. All right? Okay? Balkis?
Okay, thank you very much. The second question, Dr. Lokhman. Okay, from Abdurrahman Babat. He is in, I'm sorry, Abdurrahman, maybe Yemen or Sudan, yes, because we have two students from there. What is essentials in VUCA world? Okay, the second question I will not read because this is kind of leadership and Dr. Luman just answered that question.
Okay.
What is
So,
essential?
what is essential in a VUCA world? Okay. Now, I would say in a VUCA world, what essential is that your component, the system component, and the relation. Okay, the relation between the component. What is it? Okay, if you are a family, okay, a family unit living in the early part of the COVID-19 pandemic, okay, there's a lot of people lose their jobs because of the pandemic. There's a lot of people goes days on without food even because of the pandemic. Families unit. Okay. So, but after 2 years, some of the families still going strong. Okay, still stay strong. Why? Okay, this is not something that I studied. I didn't study family unit. But what I can understand based on my evaluation of organization, okay, this organization, okay, as a system, they manage the relationship more. They encourage, they strengthen the bond more during this hardship, just like a family unit. You understand what is the challenges to your workers affecting their performance attributes, and you try to overcome that by building up in terms of the relation. Yeah.
Okay.
In whatever conditions you are, okay, in whatever situations you are, okay, always go back to this. If anything that you can take from my lecture, okay, remember this: we are part of a system. for us to be successful in our system, you have to understand what are the components, who are the components, and what are the relations that we need to manage within that system. If you are able to do this as an accountant, as a human resource manager, as a marketer, you will be successful in your system. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much. But I'm sorry, what time we have to finish? Or can I open another opportunity for students?
That's all right, Miss.
Okay, so how long we can handle this question and answer?
I think
How?
until 10:50, Miss.
Oh, okay, 10 minutes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, please, students, if you have any questions. Laili Konita. Laili, I can see you.
Yes, Miss.
Yeah, okay. Do you have any question? Maybe a
No,
concern about
Miss.
this? Sorry?
No, Miss.
Oh, no, okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the students still thinking, Dr. Lokhman, yeah, because yeah, uh, the last insight that we got from Dr. Lokhman, remember the keywords that what we just got from Dr. Lokhman. VUCA bring us to the world, the dynamic and flexible world. Therefore, because you are also as a leader for yourself, and maybe in the next you will become the leader in organization. Some of you has already become leader in student organization, yeah. So dynamic and flexibility are two of keys of successful to how to survive, or how to not only survive, yeah, but how to be a winner in the future world. And also remember that we are part of the system, yeah, even ourselves as a system. When we are in the organization, we are a part of the system, and system component and relation of those component is very imperative aspect that we need to not only consider, but we have to think how to handle those two things in the VUCA world. Yeah. So to be success, we have to understand what and who are in the system. That's the message from the last message from Dr. Lukman. Okay, I think that's enough for us, Dr. Lukman. And so very thank you very much, yeah,
Thank you.
for sharing with us for today, and hopefully this will become what is like a
Yes.
continuous relationship, or mutual benefits for not only for us, but hopefully someday we can also share our knowledge to your university. I've been at UKM maybe before COVID, yeah. 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 Okay, so thank you very much again, and for today, thank you for students who are coming and give also insight question for everyone. And for Trihapsari Rahmadani, thank you for hosting us, and times back to you, Trihapsari. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Professor Lokhman Hakim, for the attractive material. Hopefully, it can help the audience to have better understanding of management in the age of VUCA. And also, thank you to Ms. Meika as the moderator who guide discussion today more clearly. Now, it is turning to the last agenda, which is closing. As a master of ceremony, I do apologize for any mistakes during this event. Finally, I say thank you. Before leaving this event, kindly please everyone turning on your camera because we want to take pictures. Please everyone to turn on your camera.
Okay, everyone, we need your face in front of your camera, please. Okay.
All right, I will count to 3. 1, 2, and 3. Once more, please, everyone who has not opened the camera, please turn on your camera. And I will count to 3. 1, 2, and 3. Once again, 1, 2, and 3. All right. Thank you for joining this event and see you on the next event. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Professor Lokhman. Thank you, Miss Meika.
Thank you, Dr. Lokhman. Assalamualaikum.